Everskies got popular from MovieStarPlanet, not TikTok. Before I knew Everskies, I played MovieStarPlanet, and I found it through MSP channels. It reminds me a lot of MovieStarPlanet. It really appeals to me and lots of other people who have grown out of MovieStarPlanet. Now it seems like Everskies is becoming another version of MovieStarPlanet. Yeah, but I don't know her. I never met her. Who is she? From January 1st, 2014, we've got MovieStarPlanet, MSP, is a computer game. It is played by many teens and young children. In this game, the main reason you play is to get fame. Fame determines what level you are on. It goes up to level 25. You get an avatars that you can dress up, but you need star coins to do this. Also, you can get a VIP package. This costs real money, but if you buy it, you get thousands of star coins, diamonds, and you get to do other awesome things. So what is MovieStarPlanet? My quick explanation is that you take some of the parts of Webkinz, like the graphic style, illustration, method of play, and then you take that Kim Kardashian game and you combine them and you get MovieStarPlanet. MovieStarPlanet is one of those victims of Flash. Flash was discontinued in the beginning of 2021, and prior to 2021 it had been a Flash environment game on a browser. Now you have to play it by downloading a desktop application or a smartphone app that doesn't fully have all the features that the desktop version has. At its core, this is a doll dress-up and chat room game. The main method of play is dressing up your avatar and going to places and trying different looks, or dressing up other people's avatars. That being said, there are some pretty unique elements of this game. There is this movie feature. The titular movie stars are the avatars themselves. In the movie minigame, a user can drag and drop avatars into a movie environment. The environment includes numbered keyframes where different elements change animations. The cast of characters a user can drop into these movies are the in-game friends users make through other minigames. Each user can unlock different poses for their avatar that are then bound to that avatar for use when they star in movies made by other users, making those avatars more attractive for users crafting movies. So the avatar is a movie star, and by unlocking these poses or animations that they can do, they're leveling up their acting ability and their attractiveness to star in more movies. Users publish movies and can earn currency for each view on their movies. More popular users get more views, so it's a bit of a popularity contest. Tween me would have loved this feature. It's everything that I was looking for in the early internet. There are dolls that you could dress up that you could then get to star in movies, and all I've ever wanted to do is star in video content, so this is actually pretty cool. There's this other game, and it's just called Dress Up, that's the name of it, and you're dropped into a random game. It's not like there's separate lobbies. I don't know how many concurrent games there are, and there's no way to really jump between them. You're just kind of placed in one, and then you are assigned a theme. And the theme, this is the most frustrating thing on the entire planet, they're absolutely arbitrary. Like this one, the theme is a bottle. Bottle. The theme is bottle. And you don't get to choose from your wardrobe. You're given a random selection of clothing on the website, but they don't naturally take off all of my avatar's clothing. So unless there's something that removes one of her articles of clothing, it's going to go on top of it. It's a really frustrating game. It's just like Virtual Popstar has a game like this, but in Virtual Popstar, you pick the clothing from your wardrobe. So there's like a little bit of skill and preparation involved, while this game is just needlessly frustrating. The most important thing I learned from this game is just how important it is to make your base avatar very distinct. That's why I put full body tattoos on mine, because it does influence the person picking it. They do want to see something a little bit more edgy. That's why we got Miss Goth over here. You know, it adds a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor. You can dress up your avatar in looks for other people to judge whether or not they like it or not. Or you can go ahead and review submitted looks and decide which of two presented to you is the most liked. Because what is fashion if not competitive? Besides dress up, there's also a forum, and then there are these chat rooms that are immersive environments where you can move your avatar around and see other avatars, kind of like a Habbo hotel thing or a Toontown Online thing where you just like can stand around and talk to other avatars. There's a separate title called MovieStarPlanet 2, and it's developed by the same team, and it's not the replacement for MovieStarPlanet 1. They're going to be developed in parallel for the foreseeable future. I don't really understand what the plan here is. I just don't think they want to alienate the users of MovieStarPlanet 1 or lose that income revenue, and maybe it doesn't hurt to just keep it going. It's largely self-monitoring, self-managing from the systems that they have set up. But basically everything that applies to MovieStarPlanet 1 is also going to apply to MovieStarPlanet 2. Back when I started making Everskies videos, I drew comparisons between Everskies and Neopets.com. I did this because in my niche that I cover on this YouTube channel, browser-based virtual pet games, Neopets.com is the leader in terms of search interest, user knowledge. It's the most well-known game in the genre. I mostly do these comparisons using trends.google.com, and this is just a graph that shows search interest by topic, where the 100 point on this graph will be the most searched topic at its most searched time, and then the rest of the graph is proportionately where the search interest is for that term. A couple of weeks ago, I was playing with this chart and I added on MovieStarPlanet. I was shocked to find that in recent history, MovieStarPlanet had more search interest than Neopets.com. Now that's just in the United States. From just some preliminary digging, I know that Virtual Popstar and that Everskies and that MovieStarPlanet have a central user base in Scandinavia and Europe. So when we expand this out to worldwide instead of just the United States, it's not even a competition. MovieStarPlanet is suddenly the leader. If we take the chart back even farther, we see a period of time before MovieStarPlanet when Neopets was the winner. And that's simply because Neopets was one of the most visited pages of the early internet. There was a decline in Neopets, and when that decline occurred, MovieStarPlanet took the opportunity and became the leader in this space. When I go through these charts, you'll see that in the United States and the Americas, Neopets had a very strong foothold in that it declined, but MovieStarPlanet never really moved in. And part of the reason why we see that giant mountain of traffic associated with Neopets is because when it rose to popularity, the internet was very small, and Neopets' footprint on that small internet was proportionately large. The larger the internet became, the smaller the share of interest that went to Neopets was. And once we get over to Europe, we see that it never really had that viral popularity. MovieStarPlanet, it had an amazing footprint that was very impressive and that dwarfed Neopets. I haven't answered yet why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because this game exists in a genre that is close to other genres that I cover, and it directly touches another game that I cover, and so it makes sense to cover it from that perspective, but also because the questions and concerns that I have about this game relate to the other games that I play in my niche. It is a viral game that I had not heard of before starting this series, and I am creating an overall series that's about doll dress-up games, and this is a notable member in the genre that I have to cover. So I'm asking questions that come up as I investigate the games further, and there are a lot of questions and a lot of scholarship around this genre of game. So that's why I'm making this video today. One of my introductory moments to MovieStarPlanet was this comment by Fairy Gardens on an Everskies video.
I enjoyed the Everskies for the time being because of the low moderation, creative field, and the platform being seemingly non-toxic and meant for older players. But now it seems like it's becoming another version of MovieStarPlanet. Moderators have started to change usernames, ban users from opinionated-based forums, and silencing players for no reason.
I was initially confused when I read this comment because I rarely associate a lack of moderation with a positive gameplay experience, right? Low moderation tends to mean high toxicity in the forums. But one interesting point we can draw from this statement to other pieces of media surrounding MovieStarPlanet is that the moderation is heavy-handed and stifles creativity. In the article Safeguarding Children on the Online Gaming Platform MovieStarPlanet, Vernon Jones, a registered social worker who heads safety at MovieStarPlanet, defends and explains safety protocol at MovieStarPlanet. Jones explained that the team, in addition to moderating forums, moderate user-generated content such as the production of art books, animated films, and uploaded photographs. The moderators, trained moderators, work in Denmark and other parts of the world, so there are moderators in different time zones when children are active on the site. The chat function is paused from midnight until 5 a.m. on the European, Australian, and New Zealand sites. This gives a signal to parents and children that good sleep patterns are essential and vital to their health, and it further enhances the child safeguarding methodology. While yes, this feels like a lot of extra steps to protect children's consumption habits, I'm not against it. The same article cites that the intended playership is between the ages of 8 and 15. I don't trust either end of that age spectrum to self-police healthy sleeping or screen time habits. I like the idea that the moderators are active and that chat is paused according to sleep schedules. The form filters get this glowing review in Urban Dictionary.
It will not let anyone post numbers, spellings of numbers, anything remotely close to a cuss word. It even blocks frick and frick-frack. You cannot say the words kill, killed, or die. And for some odd reason, you cannot say the word lettuce. My computer is currently banned from the MovieStarPlanet because I told someone I wanted lettuce.
This enlightening entry was written by 666 Satan's Wife 666. Who wants to bet that the aforementioned lettuce they were feigning ignorance over was the devil's lettuce? I mean, seriously, I'm sure someone with the username 666 Satan's Wife 666 definitely 100% didn't do something snide and snarky like that and then deny it. But despite the best efforts of the form filters, users get around them constantly. Just look at this spicy little pep talk. Please take care of yourself and watch who you associate with and let influence you and your brain. I've seen a lot of toxicity this past week, and I just want to say take care of your noggin. That shizzix is no joke. Your mental health, comfort, and security will always be more important than somebody else's approval. This counts for online and outside of the internet. Also, you're not a snowflake for holding people up to an expectation of human decency. Treat people with respect and it will always work out in your favor. I love you and your adjective is so fat. Mwah mwah. Maybe next time, Satan's spouse should just throw in some extra letters in their plea for marijuana. You know where else we see criticisms of overmoderation? Neopets.com. But another thing in common between Neopets and MovieStarPlanet is that they have the same intended audience. 8 to 15-year-olds. So when you're over the age of 15 and think that these games are coddling you, yes, I hear you, but maybe protecting 9-year-olds is more important than catering to 16-year-olds? While I assert that argument, I also acknowledge that that argument would be much more defensible if the efforts worked. I find this conversation very interesting when you start to look at a new game like Everskies. Everskies has a really small development team, however, it also has thousands of users online at one time who are probably around the age of 15, give or take a couple of years in either direction. How do you moderate those forums? Do you have automated processes in place? I'd love to hear from you guys what you think would work and be practical and safeguard younger users. Something that I do not find an acceptable answer is just saying that users who have identified it as having an older birth date can access different parts of the site, because if you do that, all of a sudden you'll get a bunch of accounts that are technically registered as above the age of 18, but they look a lot like they're being manned by a 9-year-old, because there's no way to verify the birth date when people set up their accounts, and so that's not a practical solution. So I would love to hear your guys' input on how to moderate these spaces with the small team, because MovieStarPlanet hired an external team to review content, and I don't really think that that is practical for Everskies. At the beginning of December 2020, MovieStarPlanet threads started popping up on Everskies, and it turned out that users who are nervous about the Flash migration and the way that MovieStarPlanet was going to be changing jump shipped to Everskies. I saw this both in the explosion of views on my Everskies / virtual popstar content. The most obvious place where this is prevalent is if you search Everskies on YouTube, you'll see a whole bunch of MovieStarPlanet YouTubers who jump shipped to Everskies. And this kind of begs the question, is Everskies the spiritual successor to MovieStarPlanet? It's a totally different sort of game. It has much more adult vibes to it. I'm interested in seeing how this goes, and I'm so jealous of this creator, Sherry MSP, who made this very well named YouTube video called MovieStarPlanet 3. That's very exciting. It looks like, in my opinion, MovieStarPlanet users jump ship en masse to Everskies. Everskies launched a couple days ago, and it was a little lackluster of a launch. Most of them are. If this was your first game launch, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it goes. Things didn't work right. Nothing was ready. It took a while for the content to come through, but everything's up now and it's the full site. But what I'm seeing is a lot of these users were MovieStarPlanet users. How do you feel about MovieStarPlanet, MovieStarPlanet 2, or Everskies? Let me know how you found these games and if you play them. Anyways, thanks for watching.